Hello and welcome to Starting Points. Last time I mentioned in the video about elephants this wonderful book, sort of right at the very first, and I didn't say too much about it except how much I'd enjoyed sharing it with the class and the calf of the November cloud. And then I realized, well, maybe you might think it's just about the Maasai in the calf of the November cloud. And it's much more than that. And the elephants play a prominent role in the drama of this story. It's gripping right through to the end. So it's all right to have left that out because I get a chance to mention the book again. This time I want to look at herds. Next time I want to look at chimpanzees, and then gorilla, and even some of the animals that live in hollow trees. These animals don't live where there's much in the way of trees. But I really like these books, and so right away, here's a 2-page spread of 7 antelope, and they're amazing horns. And I thought of Rachel Carson saying, wonder, and wonder at this diversity. It's just amazing. Now, there's way more than 7 antelopes, and they vary in size from large to quite small. But looking at this, I noticed, look at the size of that Gerenok. They're enormous. And, well, I guess if you've got your head down and maybe there's vegetation around while you're grazing, you're going to need good ears. So I thought, there's a neat adaptation. And then two of the articles that are in here, one is by a man that I'm going to share with you when we get to gorillas. His name is George Schaller, and but I didn't even know he'd written a book called Golden Shadows, Flying Hooves, and he's watching migrations in Africa. Now, he spent a lot of time in it, but he spent, well, I'll feature him in an upcoming video. The other article in here, oh, this isn't an article, this is camels, but I want to point out how this camel's nose holes is closed. It's something they're able to do. It's an adaptation that helps them when the sand is blowing. So, and here is something by Gerald Durrell, who, they're off the table, great, who wrote Rosie is My Relatives and did all kinds of amazing books that I'll share with you, at least the titles and things from, little excerpts from some of them. All right, well, there's that. Now, you know these books, so here's some books you already know, but I'm just briefly going to mention that in this book, which has a water buck on the cover, there are 3 antelopes in this book. But here's a story about the leopard, and it's something I'd mentioned, why the leopard hides the food up a tree. So there's a folk tale about it. And there's 3 other antelopes in this, including quite small, more delicate ones. And in this, the Gerenok is is featured. It's supposedly got about 4 feet to the shoulders or so, and maybe that might be close to 6 feet. But when it stands up, when it raises up, it can reach up 7 feet or more. And it has a adaptation of a triangular sole to its foot, and it works sort of like a tripod for a camera. Gives it a good balancing to hold a position like that. So there's my one picture from that, and this is a book you already know as well. Here's a book we've not looked at. It's called What the Animals Were Waiting For. All the animals, the herds and the predators, and it's just a short book, but it reinforces something extremely vital and important, and that is these animals are waiting for rain, water. It gets so hot, so dry, hardly any moisture left in any of the vegetation that they eat, and the riverbeds and dry up and things like that. And so rain, refreshing rain, a seasonal thing that they're waiting for. Zoo books. Now I mentioned about the camel. Camel's got several adaptations which help it to survive. I mentioned the nose, but it also has something about its eyelids. Now, when the wind gets whipping and there's nothing to stop it, just taking the tops off of sand dunes and whipping the sand like little pellets against you, it has long eyelashes, but it also has this adaptation. Desert winds often blow sand into the air to protect their eyes. Camels have long eyelashes that catch most of the sand. If some sand gets into the eye, a camel has a special third eyelid to get it out. Like a windshield wiper on a car, this extra eyelid moves from side to side and wipes the sand away. The eyelid is very thin, so a camel can see through it. In a sand storms, camels often close their extra eyelids and keep walking. Another adaptation, sort of a bit like a triangular foot, but it's very broad. If the foot was just small, it would sink in a little bit into the sand, and that would just make every step that much harder. So it's broad, so it's sort of like a snowshoe in a sense, keeps it up on top of the sand. And the last book that I have is Peter Matheson's a book called The Tree Where Man Was Born, and Elliot Porter, The African Experience. And I wanted to show you this photograph by Elliot Porter, who's a great photographer. But here out where there's hardly any trees showing is this massive baobab tree. And it says near Lake Manyara. And they've got a topographic map. And you can see where Kenya is, where the equator is that line, and near it is Mount Kenya, almost right on the equator. And they don't have snow in it, I think, much of the year. Down a little further, Mount Kilimanjaro, which is perhaps is the tallest mountain in Africa, will have snow all year round, or used to. I don't know if it still does. Here's the Indian Ocean, a little map of Africa, and this shows it's over on the east side. And there's Madagascar down there. Gerald Earl goes down there as well, and we'll go there with him later. And so, and this lake, this lake is right here. So it's nice to have a topographic map. Gives you a sense of the terrain and all the water courses. And well, thanks for joining me. Until next time, bye for now.